cause of what is broken. He is just the latest and most extreme symptom of what's gone wrong in America, a product of a rigged system that props up the rich and powerful and kicks dirt on everyone else.
I don't have a political machine. I don't come from money. But what I do have is this. I have grit. I have family, I have friends, I have neighbors, and I have all of you who are willing to come out in the middle of winter.
Two of the Senate Democrats jumping into the presidential fray. Joining us now, author Lauren Leader. She's the co-founder and CEO of All In Together, a nonpartisan women's civic and political organization. Good to have you on the show. I want to start with Adrienne, though. We've got a lot of women in the race. And what differentiates their messages at this point?
Well, I think, you look at Elizabeth Warren and you look at Amy Klobuchar. When I think of Elizabeth Warren, based on the way she's rolled out her announcement, I think of fighter. When I think of Amy Klobuchar, the way she rolled out her announcement, I think of grit. So each of these women are coming to the table with a lot of commonalities, but a lot of them are also coming to the table with their own unique message. And I think if you're running for president, whether you're male or female, and especially in this crowded primary, you've got to find that one little soundbite that people remember when they think of you that allows you to stand out.
So, Lauren, what are the challenges these women will face as they fight for the nomination?
Well, I mean, I think Adrienne's right that, in a very crowded field, I think all the candidates are going to struggle for differentiation. They do each bring unique strengths. I think what's incredible about all of them is just every one of them has an extraordinary record of public service. And I think they're all going to hit on that to be president of the United States is also, it's critical that you understand how governing works, that you actually have a record of serving the American people instead of just serving yourself, which I think they're going to hit on over and over again. And I do think that connecting to women voters who have outvoted men in every election since 1980 is going to be essential. Black women are obviously essential. They're the most likely to be registered to vote and the most likely to show up at the polls than any other group of Americans. And these women are going to work very hard to connect their own life stories and their understanding of American women and Americans in general to people in a very deep and personal way. It's going to be a remarkable thing to watch.
So, Mike Barnicle, both women that announced over the weekend got hammered with some negative press stories before their announcements. One wonders whether we already have in this crowded field or potential crowded field opposition research dumps already starting to move. You have the Amy Klobuchar story that she is unkind to staff members, and then, of course, the Elizabeth Warren story that's been with her for quite some time. I've spoken with a lot of people over the past week who think both of these stories are significant. I must tell you that, yeah, they are both troubling in their own ways. I don't think they're going to have, in the age of Trump, I don't think those stories are going to be around when that Minnesota snow melts.
Mm-hmm. Joe, you gave Elizabeth Warren some free advice, some great advice earlier this morning. When it's about the future, it's not about her past. Yeah. She should stop looking in the rearview mirror. She has a record to run on. She has a voice that has to be heard. She uses that voice quite powerfully, and she should stick with that rather than referring to anything that happened 30 years ago. With regard to Amy Klobuchar's issues, boo-hoo. All of these young millennials, I would assume, being quoted in the paper, she was mean to me in the office, I dropped a paper clip, whatever it is. I mean, just cut it out and move on. Amy Klobuchar announced from Minnesota, the middle of this country, and that's where she's running, and that's where the vast majority of voters happen to live, right in the middle.
So let me just say this.
Tweets on that.
Let me just say this right now. Grandpa speaks for himself. He's not
I agree with Grandpa.
Can't wait to see the tweets from the 90 million millennials.
Yeah, exactly.
Put your name on it. Put your name on it. You got a beef with Amy Klobuchar? Put your name on it.
Exactly.
Actually, that is fair. If you have a beef with her, put your name on it. I thought that Amy Klobuchar did something fairly brilliant. The thing that I found most remarkable about Bill Clinton's victory in 1992, and I couldn't believe as a Republican, because I had gotten used to Republicans owning the middle of America. Bill Clinton won every state on the Mississippi River. I mean, there was just a blue line that cut. It was like a dagger in the heart of Republicanism. And Amy Klobuchar talked about the mighty Mississippi starting in Minnesota at a place where you can walk across it, and took us in through a journey down the Mississippi River all the way down to New Orleans. And my gosh, I've always thought if Democrats are going to start winning the White House again, that's how they do it.
Yes.
That's clearly, and I think that's what she's counting on. I mean, she won by such extraordinary margins in Minnesota, and that's absolutely at the core of why she's running and what she hopes her appeal will be, that she can connect with the kinds of middle American voters that Democrats have largely not connected with over the last, certainly 4 to 8 years. And I think, keep your eye on Sherrod Brown, because I suspect he's counting on a similar tactic. But I do think that this historic number of women running is a game changer. It's a game changer for American politics. There are 59 other countries that have elected women heads of state ahead of us. We somehow have been in the dark on this, and having this many women changes everything about the way these women are going to get covered. They're no longer the only. They don't wind up being the same kind of lightning rod for gender politics the way we've seen with Hillary Clinton. It's a total game changer for all of them, and it enables us to actually focus on their message, the content of what they have to deliver. It's not that we won't see gendered attacks, but I do think it changes. And by the way, we've got a media that's in the post-Me Too movement and a lot more women in the media covering these women. And so I hope we're going to have a much more balanced and equitable and thoughtful debate about these women as they run, instead of just running, over and over again the same stories about personality and other sort of gender attacks.
I think Amy Klobuchar did something amazing this weekend, and I think she put out a visual there that I don't know if everyone completely got it this way, but looking at her standing in sub-zero temperatures with the snow blowing down on her face and everyone freezing but wanting to be there for her, Donald Trump would no sooner stand in a snowstorm with his bone spurs getting cold, than he would enlist at some point in his life and serve this country.
By the way, Nika, he wouldn't even go to one of the most sacred war ceremonies.
He won't stand in the rain.
Because it was sprinkling outside.
Correct. And so, to me, it showed a strength and a grit and a visual that stood her up against Trump right there and set her apart. I thought it was really cool.
All five of
Lauren
these
Leader,
women are
thank you.
tough as nails.